Hello everybody and welcome back to OMB Reviews. I am the critic who is a cynic. Hope you're doing well, and today we'll be doing a box office update for this Memorial Day weekend box office, which officially sees Top Gun Maverick beating out Pirates of the Caribbean at World End. That's Pirates of the Caribbean's Memorial Day opening weekend record that was set about, 15 years ago, almost over a decade ago. So again, very good news for Top Gun Maverick, and I'm personally happy to see this film in that top slot. As much of a fan I am of the original Pirates of the Caribbean, the second and third films each subsequently fall off just a little bit more as far as, quality storytelling in general. Third film's not nearly as bad as the fourth film, not nearly as bad as the fifth film, but again, not anywhere close to how great that first movie was. But Top Gun Maverick doing incredibly well, so we'll go ahead and update those box office numbers. Also have an updated budget to talk about as well. Thank you to the person in the comments section who had noted that the budget had been actually updated for the film, which changes things just a little bit as far as where the film currently is, where the film needs to be. But based on the trajectory of where this movie is going and how strong the trajectory and the strong word of mouth for this film, the very positive word of mouth for this film, it's very likely for this movie to continue on its track to being able to reach its break-even point probably by the end of next weekend. Before going any further, though, please make sure that you smash that like button, light up that fire button if you're watching over on Odyssey, and also make sure that you are subscribed to the channel with that bell notification on. That way you know every time a new video or live stream goes live on the channel. So as this article from Deadline points out, Top Gun Maverick Deep Sixes. Oh, very poetic there. Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End for Memorial Day opening record with $156 million, and that is the domestic marketplace that they are projecting the film to be. Some people said, why is it that the numbers are what they are currently? Why is it that they don't wait until maybe the Monday or Tuesday after before they put these numbers out? And basically comes down to every day a movie is out, they're able to look at the trends, they're able to look at the numbers that are being reported and the projected drops from day to day, and based on that, based on historical trends, they're able to make pretty good predictions as far as what a film's box office weekend or extended box office weekend, like in today's case, will likely be, and they're usually pretty accurate. Normally there is an adjustment that happens about the Tuesday or Wednesday after the fact when they get the actuals, because much of these numbers are based off of what is being projected and what is being reported by the studio, but when the actual numbers come out, they update those numbers, and normally it's about a few $1 million off, which again, to a normal person like us, or to like me or anyone else watching the video, might sound like a whole lot, but in the grand scheme of the box office, it really is very small, because we're talking about maybe 1% or 2% off when everything is said and done. So these projections end up being pretty accurate nonetheless. So let's go ahead and just dive into this very first part. It says here that it has beaten Disney's Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End fair and square for the Memorial Day weekend 4-day opening, plus previews of the domestic box office. While easily Tom Cruise's best opening of all time, producer Jerry Bruckheimer is the common denominator of the two largest Memorial Day weekends of all time. So now Pirates of the Caribbean is the second highest Memorial Day weekend. At World's End, 4-day holiday opening of 139.8 was further puffed by Thursday previews, which got that third Pirates to a 153 million stateside start at Memorial Day, record Disney held for the last 15 years. No more. Those bragging rights go to Paramount now. Over the weekend, debate raged on us as to whether those 13.2 million at World's End previews, which reportedly started at 8 p.m., should be included in that Pix 4-day opening. That gross was recorded at a time before studios began rolling previews into their weekend openings. Forever, Box Office Mojo and ComScore showed at World's End with a 4-day start of 139.8. Mojo separated out the 13.2 million at World's End previews into a separate Thursday opening day, while ComScore rolled that amount into at World End's 7-day gross, not its opening. Capiche? However, given how previews have been included in these blockbuster openings of late, it only made sense to measure this race by an apples-to-apples side rule. So, interestingly here, there was actually a lot of debate behind the scenes between the box office prognosticators about how to count movies and how movies used to be counted, and someone brought up a good point on social media saying, what happened to the good old days when you would count things based off of ticket sales? And I totally agree. I think that ticket sales and the number of people is a much better metric to go by, but the point I made was it's very difficult now in our much more worldwide global economy to keep track of individual ticket sales, whereas it used to be mostly focusing on domestic sales, which are and have been always a bit easier to track. It's a little bit more difficult when you break things down into that. I do think it's the fairest way, though, personally. I wish that is how we gave metrics to these things, because when you take into account the premium format ticket prices, when you take into account the number of theaters that a movie is available at, and the obviously the price of a ticket. All of these factors I think are so important and actually to get a good metric. That's why I've been liking that, despite the flaws that Deadline has, it has been mentioning and Intelligence's reporting on how many people have gone to see a film in a given weekend. So for instance, they report that 11.6 million people went to go see Top Gun 2, which is the third biggest attendance during the pandemic era since Q2 of 2020, after Spider-Man No Way Home, which had 20.6 million, and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness at 14 million on opening weekend. So I do like that it's been keeping track of that, but even that is a bit of an estimate and, again, is not necessarily a perfect metric nonetheless. The other thing that always drives me crazy, and I always mention it in my videos, is that this never takes into account the actual numbers when you adjust them for inflation. And that I think is so incredibly important, because even though we're seeing a very strong number here from Top Gun Maverick, which, remember, with the Monday will put it around $156 million. If you compare this to 15 years ago, Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End was at around, by the first Monday, $203.9 million when you adjust those numbers for inflation. So technically speaking, Pirates of the Caribbean is still the higher grossing movie as far as opening weekends are concerned. That all being said, it is still quite impressive for Top Gun Maverick to be doing as well as it is, especially since it's a sequel to a movie that came out more than 30 years ago. But also when you look at these budgets, it's kind of amazing. Top Gun Maverick, as I mentioned earlier in the video that there was going to be an update, originally I was projecting the film to have cost around $152 to $157 million, and that was based off of what was reported in I believe it was from a California document. So normally there are, in certain cases for movies, you're able to actually get documents with having that have things like tax breaks and tax breakdowns when movies or studios are working in specific states or working in specific places. And that was the number that was, reported for the actual budget of the movie. Now, from Variety, a more recent article has come out to say that the film costs actually closer to $170 million. But notice still, when you adjust for inflation, Pirates of the Caribbean 3 cost the equivalent of what today would be around $400 million. So it's kind of crazy to look at these numbers and to think, yeah, Pirates of the Caribbean had a higher opening, but it also cost, again, twice, almost over 2 times as much. And it's kind of insane that we still, to this day, spend close to that much amount of money on these big budget, giant budget films, when in the case of Top Gun Maverick, when you actually go to see the film, you actually see the quality, you see the product, you see the money that's being spent on it because of the way that they're able to bring so many practical effects into it. Obviously, money had to be paid in order for them to have access to those military jets. Obviously, money had to be paid in order for them to be able to have the actual fighters of those jets be able to fly around the actors as they were shooting these movies, as they were shooting these scenes for this movie. So you kind of see that in the way it comes about. Whereas Pirates of the Caribbean, even though it did come out over 15 years ago, crazy thing that came out in 2007. That's when I graduated high school. That's insane. My goodness, time is just flying by. When you look to that number, though, you think to yourself, yeah, when I watched that movie back, though, yeah, I can see where they spent all that money because it was all on CGI effects. But man, oh man, those CGI effects just don't look nearly as good or nearly as clean as what you would find in a movie like Top Gun. Not to say that Top Gun does not also have its own sequences and scenes of CGI, but they're a lot few and far between, especially in comparison. And again, I think you really get where they spent their money, and I think they much more wisely spend their money in the case of Top Gun Maverick. That all being said, I do think it's important just to try to be as clear as possible that the record books will show that Top Gun Maverick is indeed the winner in these comparisons, but I think adjusting for inflation is a very important metric nonetheless, and this does not change the fact that Top Gun Maverick is a fantastic film and is well worth your time. If you've not seen it yet, I think it is a great film to see during this Memorial Day weekend, and on this Memorial Day, most especially when we remember those who have served our country, whose lives have been lost, but even by extension, right, we remember those who serve our country and put their lives at risk every single day. I think it's very important for us just to keep that in mind, and I understand that films like Top Gun Maverick are really able to kind of show why we have such respect for not just the people who serve our country, but also those who have fallen as well. And I think that is one of the reasons why the film is doing as well as it is, not just because it's a great film, not just because it's a sequel to a popular movie, but also because it just does a darn good job of telling its story. So as far as the actual box office goes, both the numbers and Box Office Mojo are still not reporting the full amount. As I had mentioned in yesterday's video, the total was around $248 million based off of the projections from the weekend numbers, both domestically and internationally. It was said to have made around $124 million in both markets. Now, obviously, we see that those numbers have not been reflected here on Box Office Mojo. They're also not reflected completely over on the numbers.com either. So the film right now is sitting roughly around maybe $280 million. So as you can see, I have my own updated chart here. This is the full chart without going through the website, but it's published on the website. I'm going to update this for the Excel sheet that's being posted over there. But as you can see, with these updated numbers, the break even for this film is $425 million. But at 280, it's right now 87.0 million in the red. So even though it's about exactly where it was or close to where it was when you compare it to the box office breakdown from yesterday, even with these updated numbers from the reported domestic numbers for Memorial Day and also with the updated budget, as you can see, the numbers are still just about the same, and my predictions and projections of the film breaking even by weekend 2 are also still there as well. But anyway, just wanted to cover this, that, and again, Top Gun Maverick doing incredibly well. Again, here is the original report. Again, $248 million, but when you add those numbers together from the now $156 million being reported, when you add in the projected Monday numbers, puts the film closer to 280, which means you'll see this film cross $300 million probably sometime during the week, and then probably could get up to 350, 400 million by the end of next weekend, depending on how strong the hold is. And I think the hold will indeed be quite strong because it's a great film. It's a solid movie. It's getting a lot of positive word of mouth. I don't think I've seen many negative comments, even in my own comment section, which, of course, me being a very cynical person, sometimes my comments can be pretty cynical as well, and we're not seeing that for this film. So I think it's very important for us to point that out, and also, again, to still, even though adjusted for inflation changes things just a little bit, I'm sure there's other films we could also put in the place of even Pirates of the Caribbean when you adjust for inflation. Still important, nonetheless, to give a huge shout to the film for breaking this record and for doing as well as it is. But what are y'all's thoughts about it? Have you seen Top Gun Maverick? Do you care at all about when it comes to adjusted for inflation or not? And do you kind of wish that there was a agency out there that actually tracked ticket sales and actually, tried to hold studios to account? Because then it would be a lot easier for us to know how popular a film was, right? If one movie sells 1 million tickets, whereas another movie sells 800,000 tickets, but because of price differentials, the one that sells 800,000 is being reported as made more money, you see that it doesn't really reflect exactly how well the film is doing as far as the number of people going to see the movie. And again, those discrepancies can be seen throughout not just films like this, but films and throughout all of box office film history. Anyway, let me know your thoughts about that as well in the comment section down below. If you like this video, smash that like button, lap that fire button on Odyssey. Check out the website ombreviews.com if you want more information on the actual box office breakdowns that I do. And also, you'll notice that I have now let me go ahead and see if I can pull this up. Because you'll now see on the website that I have my summer streaming schedule up. So I'm going to be streaming now Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings. It'll be the Good Morning Asgard podcast on the main channel from 9 to 10:30 a.m. All of these are Eastern time. So that's Tuesday and Wednesday. And then on Thursday, it will be the OMB Report Live. That's right, my news and politics channel is finally going to get back up and running. And we're going to get started with a live stream this week and every Thursday, 9 to 10:30 as well. Channel is different, though, because this is the second channel focused specifically on news and politics. Haven't done a video there in about 4 months, back when all of the crazy mandates were looking to come down, and luckily the Supreme Court stepped in and shut those down, at least for schools and other agencies like that. But anyway, if you're looking forward to summer streaming schedule, boom, there it is, as well as my typical evening schedule, which will remain consistent throughout the school year once it starts back up in the fall. But the summer schedule is just for the summer months, so June, July, and maybe first week of August. But typically things die down towards the end of July when meetings start up. But let me know your thoughts about this also. Anyway, thank you very much for your time and attention. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, a blessed Memorial Day, and as always, God bless. Before going any further, I wanted to give a very, very huge special shout out to one of my Valkyries, one of my longtime supporters, Tina B, the Empress of the Universe. Thank you. Thank you so much for being a supporter and for being a mod on this channel. And now for a huge special shout out to all of my members who are at the Keeper of the Bifrost level and above on Patreon, Subscribestar, and Locals. So first on Patreon, Brandon, let's go Brandon, Christopher Bowman, Garrett Searles, Hymir Irie Hymason, Jacob from Holland, Jacob Juice, who you can check out on his Letterboxd. Jacob Juice is how you can find it. Jeffrey Toon, Joey Horn, Jonathan Carney, Laura, the Modern Major General, Story, Mad Mike Jackson, special shout out for him in a second, Mad Mitch Dunaway, Orange Hat Reviews, you can check out his channel, Orange Hat Reviews, Rosetta Allen, you can check out her channel as well, Stan Andrian, and Miss Martin Muses, who also has a YouTube channel, and a special shout out, as I mentioned, to Jacob Juice from Holland, again, letterboxd.com/Jacob Juice for more information about him, and a special shout out to my members over on Subscribestar, Matt 317, Storm Tracker, The R, Fast Reaction, Mr. Roy, and a huge shout out to my newest Chosen of Valhalla member, Luka Illich. J-Rod, the Beer Guru, and ZK-Man. Thank y'all very much for supporting on Subscribestar. And to two of the members who are supporting me over on Locals, who asked for special shout-outs. First off, Minnesota hockey fan. Let's go. Let's get a hockey player. And UAB, Mad Dog, Mike Jackson for the win. Thank you very much for supporting me, and also Robert Barnes on Locals as well. Anyway, if you want a special shout out, and Brett D90 for that matter, if you want a special shout out at the end of every single video, please check out that top link at the very top of the video description. It'll give you more information about the different tiers and what you get every single month. Thank you guys for your love, for your patience, for this month's shout out video as well. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and as always, God bless.